All right, everybody, this is Aaron Breitman. A little bit after Rutgers loses at Indiana 66-60. I was on the post-game call with Peichel, and, I thought you could tell after losses how he processes them, and I think he was encouraged in defeat, and honestly, I am too. Listen, it stinks to lose to Indiana. It was going to happen eventually. If they didn't win tonight, I mean, this was as ideal of a situation for them. Coming off the win over Purdue, number one, having momentum at home again. Rutgers comes in, just losing Mag, having an emotional game, just 3 days ago as well. This was prime game for Indiana to win. So, there it is, 30-16. I thought Peichel, used the first half at times to kind of figure out the new rotations with Mag not playing, obviously out for the season now. And they got off to a slow start. I thought they would, and I thought it was all about weathering the storm, and they did. And they fought like hell to get back in it. They finished the first half on a 19-8 run. They made it 38-35 at the half. Cam comes out, hits a three to start the second half. It's a tie game. Indiana then goes on another run. I think they got it to, was it 8 or 9 at one point. And Rutgers just kept battling. They kept battling, and Indiana can never knock them out of the game. And there was a one-possession game, 3 minutes to go. I think it was 59-56. Rutgers, they missed a three. Mulcahy missed some shots down the stretch. He had that he pulled up where it could have been a layup. It was like a short range shot instead, and he missed two front ends of a 1-on-1. Rutgers, they got beat on the offensive rebounds. I forgot, it was Race Thompson who shot the air ball, and Trace Jackson Davis grabbed it and scored. And then on someone's miss, I think it was Trace Jackson Davis, you had Galloway get the offensive rebound and score. So those killed them down the stretch. Paul and Caleb did not play well at all. I honestly thought that they played sad. They looked, Caleb played hard. He played really hard. He had 8 rebounds. What did he have? He had 8 rebounds, but a couple assists. 1 of 12 from the floor. Pretty awful there. He had 2 steals, 2 assists, no turnovers. But he shot terribly. He was trying to create. But even Stephen Bardo said at the end how he pulled up instead of going to the rim. Listen, he's going to struggle offensively. I don't think he shouldn't be the primary option down the stretch. He does so many things well. He's not a natural shooter. I thought Cam needs to be more involved. Cam had a good game. He was 5 of 11, 2 of 5 from 3, but 14 points. He also had 4 boards, 3 steals. But they need to look for him more. But I thought overall, honestly, Paul he looked out of it. He didn't look his sharp self. I'm sure it was a bit of emotional drain, not only from the game on Saturday, but listen, these guys, they lost a starter. They lost their brother, and it's tough. It's tough. You forget these guys are teens they're early 20s, but it's not an easy thing to deal with. They didn't have a lot of time to deal with it, and it looked like to me Paul was really affected by it. I thought Cliff, even at times, he ended up doing okay stat wise. 15 points, only grabbed 4 boards. He kept losing his shoe. But I thought the older guys, looked kind of a little out of it, a little hazy. And I thought the bench played great. And I thought the complimentary guys played great. Oscar, coming in 3 threes in the first half. He kept them in it. He got them back in it. It was 30-16. He had already made 1. He made 2 back-to-back threes. That got them right back in the game. That was huge. Amazing story. Amazing that Oscar Palmquist, who we've waited on for a long time, is playing, valuable minutes and made a big contribution tonight on the road. Just great stuff. Andre Hyatt started. Peichel kind of alluded to him now being in the starting lineup when he talked about the rest of the bench. Hyatt had 9 points, 3 of 8, 2 of 7 from 3, 4 boards, 2 assists. No turnovers from him either, so that was good. Rutgers only had 10 turnovers in the game. Indiana had 14, but a big key was that Indiana took advantage of the turnovers. They had a 17-13 edge in points off of turnovers, even though they had 4 more turnovers than Rutgers. So that was part of it. Rutgers had, virtually no transition game, which hurt. But I thought, and then Derek Simpson, I asked Pike about Derek Simpson, him playing down the stretch now 2 games in a row. And he said he likes his defense. He's getting confidence. And they're going to need him. And I think that's why, Simpson playing down the stretch, he gives them another scoring option too. And I think that's important. But I think his evolution is been really, important to this team. And I think, listen, Indiana's a lot better than they were in December. I really think so. They were tougher. Chase Jackson Davis was great. Miller Kopp killed him again. Nobody else really did too much. They did a good job on Hood Shavino. But, listen, Indiana's now tied with Rutgers. It's a missed opportunity. I get it. They're both 8-5 now. But, let's not forget, Indiana was everybody's darling going into the season. Rutgers was picked 8th. And Indiana, although they did beat Rutgers, they could not knock them out. Rutgers kept coming. And, Indiana, knew that they made out. I mean, Rutgers missed some opportunities down the stretch. It's frustrating. It's disappointing. But honestly, overall, I just find it a very encouraging performance. Your 2 seniors played poorly. You're coming right off the mag injury. But defensively, they played so much better in the second half. They held Indiana without a field goal for over 8 minutes. That was incredible. Their defense looked a lot better in the second half, and Pica was kind of mixing things up in the first half. And I think in the second half, he had a better feel for the rotations. And he even said after the game, they're going to need a couple weeks to kind of figure things out. They're going to be, you can't replace Mag. You're going to have to be different. Not dramatically different, but they're going to be different. And, this is an opportunity for Simpson. It's an opportunity for Hyatt. Even Reber, when he came in, he didn't get much run at all. But when he came in at the end of the first half, he fronted Trace Jackson Davis. He competed. Oscar gave him something. Jalen Miller had a couple fouls in 3 minutes. Not much there, unfortunately. Woolfolk didn't do too much in 3 minutes either. But I thought Reber, Palmquist, Simpson, all positive contributions off the bench. This team, they shot well from 3 for a while. They were 8-25 for the game. They only shot 40% for the game. Listen, offensively, they were 8-12 on layups. They were a little bit over a point per possession. And so was Indiana. But really, I'm encouraged by this fight. I thought if there was ever going to be a game where kind of Rutgers didn't really have it, emotionally and physically and fight-wise, it could have been tonight. It could have been a team letdown, but it didn't happen. And this team fought, and, they didn't play, their best players didn't play great, and they almost won the game. They lost by 2 possessions. It was a 1-possession game late. Missed opportunity for sure, but in the grand scheme of things, I think you have to be encouraged by how this team, there's still a lot of pieces there. They kind of mix the puzzle a little bit, but I thought overall, this team is still going to be a tough out. They have guts, and they went into a really tough place to play. Illinois is going to be tough on Saturday. They're going to have a few days now to kind of regroup, reset themselves defensively, rotation-wise, game plan-wise, and then you come home to Nebraska next week. Starts a 6-game stretch where per KenPom, even without Mag, they're still favored to win most of them. So and they can. I think. Listen, Indiana's one of the better teams, and Rutgers still almost won without Mag, not playing great. That's encouraging. So now you have Illinois, another tough road game, and then you have the 6-game stretch to end the regular season where they can win 4 or 5 games. So 12, 13, even 14 wins is still on the table. Is Indiana going to pass them by? Maybe. We'll see. But, there's so much to like about this team still. Top 4 finish, they're still right there. This loss is not going to hurt at all. It's a top 20, quad 1 loss. On the road, you lose by 2 possessions. It's not gonna, it's not a bad loss at all. And they just got to keep grinding. They got to keep grinding. I felt like if they just kept hanging around in this game, they were going to have a chance to win, and they did. They did. They weren't able to execute. They weren't able to actually pull it off, but they did. And this team, like I said, with their defense, I've said it before, it's going to keep them in games. It's going to give them a chance every time they're on the court. And, listen, it's really upsetting about Mag. Really upsetting. Not only just because of how well he was playing, how much he's developed as a player. He was playing his best basketball right when he got hurt. But also just for his story. I mean, coming from Australia, then California, and all the injuries he's had throughout his career. And, such a likable kid. I had him on the podcast before the season. Really like him. And, it's devastating. It's terrible news, but, torn ACL, I mean, technology today, who knows? Pikel was asked. He had no idea on the timetable. It wouldn't give, any details there. But it's going to be a long road ahead for him. But, I think he will come back better served from the learning experience of having time off to learn the game a little bit more. And I think, for this program, they keep grinding. They keep grinding. And there's no time to bemoan the loss. And I thought this team, responded pretty well tonight. And there's a lot more basketball ahead. And they're just going to keep grinding. They're not going to lose their personality. I love the toughness of, with Cliff and Cam. And, even though Paul didn't play well, I mean, they kept competing. And I'm sure Paul's going to be kicking himself after this game. He's got to be more assertive down the stretch. He's got to be more assertive offensively. He only took 4 shots. But this team's going to figure things out. I really, if I was worried at all after this game, I'm not worried. They're going to figure things out. They're going to be just fine. They're still going to win, I think they're going to win 12, 13 games. And they might not finish in second place now, but they might still. Who knows? You can't draw any crazy conclusions from this game other than they played a really good team and they almost won not playing their best, missing a key player. So that's the takeaway. And appreciate listening and watching. And be back on Saturday with Illinois. Check out all my coverage at thescarletfaithful.com. And they'll keep grinding.